Chapter 201. Elder Nejan's Doubts. Everything I've said is true, the man called Lin Yu said as he patted his chest. Zhao Yuyan's reaction speed at the entrance of the mystic realm could not have been achieved by someone in the refinement realm. Very good, but we can't rush this. Let's wait and see. A strange light flashed across Li Baijian's eyes. His thoughts were almost the same as Lin Yu's. He was also greedy for the opportunity Zhao Yuyan had obtained. What right did a person who could only bring bad luck to others have to enjoy such an opportunity? Moreover, news of Zhao Yuyan entering the mystic realm had already spread throughout the White Moon Tower. What everyone was most curious about was how Zhao Yuyan, a second-level refinement realm weakling, had emerged from the mystic realm unscathed. After the two of them chatted for a while, they both chose to secretly observe the situation, wanting to see if Zhao Yuyan had really reached the Qi transformation realm. However, the moment they approached the bamboo courtyard, they were discovered by Lin Qingping. Although Lin Qingping's strength had not recovered to its peak state, she was still a bona fide purple spirit realm expert. How could their tracks be hidden from her? After being attacked from a distance of dozens of meters, the two were heavily injured in one blow. However, Lin Qingping was still quite afraid of the second elder behind Li Baijian because that elder was the murderer who had caused Zhao Yuyan's father's death. After that, Li Baijian turned pale with fright. Was Lin Qingping not bedridden? Why did she still have such terrifying strength? Could it be that this woman had been putting on an act? However, no matter what the truth was, Li Baijian could not bear it. She was just a BTCH, yet she actually dared to hurt him. He had to get his teacher to teach her a good lesson. Li Baijian hurriedly went over to the second elder's residence. White Moon Tower, South Mountain Pavilion. There was an extremely luxurious palace on this mountain peak. This was the residence of the second elder, Nejan. A man with a hooked nose sat on the throne in the main hall. His gaze was cold as he looked at Li Baijian, who was crying. Li Baijian's face was very pale. Blood kept flowing from the corners of his mouth. He told Elder Nejan about how Lin Qingping had severely injured him, accusing her of disregarding Elder Nejan's dignity and reputation. Hearing this, Elder Nejan's eyes turned cold. How could he not know what his disciple's intentions were? It was just that he was too lazy to expose it. The reason why Li Baijian dared to slander Lin Qingping was because he had already noticed his teacher's attitude toward Lin Qingping. Elder Nejan had always disliked Zhao Yuyan's family, especially her father. When he found out that Zhao Yuyan's father had died, he was extremely happy. Don't worry, I will look for her to settle this score. Elder Nejan looked at Li Baijian and said lightly. Thank you, teacher. Li Baijian saw this and was extremely happy. He quickly stood up. Teacher, I have something to tell you. Oh. I think that teacher has heard that the little jinx, Zhao Yuyan, entered the mystic realm and emerged unscathed, but teacher might not know that this little girl might have encountered some great fortune in the mystic realm. Lin Qingping's sudden recovery definitely had something to do with Zhao Yuyan's great fortune. However, with his strength, he could not take it all for himself. Instead of leaving empty-handed, he figured that he might as well inform his teacher so that he could get some of the benefits when his teacher snatched Zhao Yuyan's opportunity. Do you have evidence? Elder Nejan raised his eyebrows questioningly. He had naturally heard about Zhao Yuyan sneaking into the mystic realm, but he was disappointed to hear that she had emerged safely. A jinx who would only bring bad luck to others should die early. Teacher, what happened was, Li Baijian then told Elder Nejan about how Lin Yu met Zhao Yuyan at the entrance of the mystic realm and tossed in his own speculations for good measure. Originally, Lin Qingping was bedridden, but now she has recovered her purple spirit realm cultivation. It's very likely that she consumed a heavenly treasure that the jinx found in the mystic realm. Teacher, you said previously that Lin Qingping's life force was very weak and that she did not have much time left to live, but when she attacked me earlier, her aura was far stronger than before. Once he finished speaking, Li Baijian secretly glanced at his teacher. However, what made him frown slightly was that his teacher's expression did not change much. Could it be that his teacher did not have the slightest bit of interest in this matter? I've got it. You should leave now and rest well. I will definitely not forgive that BTCH for severely injuring you. Thank you, teacher. Since his teacher had given him his word, he just had to wait for a good show. After Li Baijian left, Elder Nejan's gaze turned dark. If what Li Baijian said was true, then something strange must have happened to Zhao Yuyan. Zhao Yuyan was only a second-level refinement realm cultivator. How could she react fast enough to dodge the attack of a Qi transformation realm cultivator? This in itself was very unreasonable. However, what surprised him the most was Lin Qingping's recovery. From what he knew, there was no way to replenish such a huge amount of depleted life force. I didn't expect this BTCH to be so lucky. Looks like I have to make another plan. At the thought of this, Elder Nijin's eyes flashed with killing intent. Previously, he had a great enmity with Zhao Yuyan's father. In the White Moon Tower, he constantly thought of ways to kill him, but because of the relationship between them, he could not find a suitable opportunity. However, to his surprise, Zhao Yuyan's father actually left the White Moon Tower and went into the mountains to search for spiritual herbs. He decisively took out his treasured spirit beast flower and attracted many tier 5 demonic beasts to attack Zhao Yuyan's father. This resulted in his death. From the perspective of outsiders, his death was due to Zhao Yuyan's existence, which undoubtedly brought him bad luck. It was also because of this that Zhao Yuyan had been blaming herself all this while. Lin Qingping had already lost a lot of her life force, so once he sent her that voice transmission, her injuries would worsen from the anger and die. That had been his plan. However, what surprised him was that Lin Qingping was actually so patient and persistent. She did not seek revenge, and even hid this secret deeply. Chapter 202. The Might of the Firewing. This won't do. Looks like I'll have to personally make a move to determine the authenticity of this matter. Immediately after, Elder Nijin's figure transformed into a streak of light and suddenly disappeared. After which, he headed towards the bamboo courtyard. Swoosh. However, at this moment, a red streak of light suddenly descended and blocked Elder Nijin. I wonder what Elder Nijin is so anxious about. As the red streak of light slowly dissipated, an old woman's figure was revealed. Yin Susu, what do you mean by this? Hearing this, Elder Nijin's gaze turned slightly cold. This old woman's name was Yin Susu, and she was the third elder of the sect. She was also the one who was secretly taking care of Lin Qingping and her daughter. If it was not for this old woman secretly interfering, Lin Qingping and her daughter would have long died by his hands. I'm just asking, why are you so nervous, Elder Nijin? Elder Nijin, go where you need to go. Yin Susu looked at Elder Nijin indifferently, and then got out of the way. Humph. Elder Nijin snorted coldly, then turned into a streak of light and disappeared. Yin Susu looked in the direction where Elder Nijin was headed, and her eyes turned cold. Yin Susu and Lin Qingping's mother were good friends, and before she passed away, she had asked her to take good care of Lin Qingping. It was because of this that Yin Susu had repeatedly stopped Elder Nijin. However, Elder Nijin was stronger than she was, so she could only secretly watch over them. She is indeed only at the second level of the refinement realm. Elder Nijin hovered in the air above the bamboo courtyard. His spiritual sense inspected Zhao Yuyan's cultivation level. He frowned at this discovery. Yi Zan had long since disguised Zhao Yuyan's aura. Unless one's strength was much higher than Yi Zan's, it was impossible for them to probe Zhao Yuyan's actual cultivation level. Could it be that Li Baijin was lying to me? Thinking this, Elder Nijin's eyes immediately turned cold, but his expression quickly changed. Lin Qingping's aura was very strange. It was indeed as Li Baijin had said. This BTCH had already recovered her former strength. 6th level of the Purple Spirit Realm. Most importantly, the aura around her body was no longer erratic. This meant that this woman's life force had been completely replenished. How is this possible? Elder Nijin frowned. Could it be that the Jinx had really obtained a great opportunity in the mystic realm? Furthermore, it was a heavenly treasure that could replenish one's life force. Thinking this, Elder Nijin was filled with doubt. However, he did not dare to approach Zhao Yuyan. After all, he was worried that he would be affected by her bad luck. Lin Qingping, why did you injure my disciple? After not getting the answer he wanted, Elder Nijin proceeded with his plan. Hearing his voice, Lin Qingping's expression changed. She did not expect Elder Nijin to arrive here so quickly. Since your disciple dares to covet my bamboo courtyard, I naturally had to teach him a lesson. Lin Qingping looked at Elder Nijin with a grave expression, and hurriedly pushed Zhao Yuyan behind her. HMPH. That's utter rubbish. Li Baijin merely passed by here, but you attacked him and severely injured him. Now, you still dare to argue with me regarding this matter. How about this? Whatever you did, I'll return it to you. Elder Nijin then reached out his hand and made a grabbing gesture. He easily lifted Lin Qingping up from where he was. However, Zhao Yuyan, who was behind Lin Qingping, was safe and sound. No matter what, Elder Nijin was still quite afraid of Zhao Yuyan's bad luck, so he naturally did not want to get too close to her. Since he could not deal with that jinx, he might as well cripple this BTCH. Previously, he did not have a suitable reason to attack Lin Qingping, but now it was different. Because of Li Baijin, he now had a legitimate reason. Of course, he could not kill Lin Qingping, but he could still cripple her meridians. Elder Nijin. Yin Susu's expression changed when she saw this. She had not expected Elder Nijin to really attack Lin Qingping. Let go of my mother. You bad person, don't touch my mother. Seeing this, Zhao Yuyan shouted anxiously. Yun'er, run, look for Granny Yin. Lin Qingping was controlled by a terrifying force and could not move at all. All she could do was shout. There was nothing she could do. The distance between a 6th-level Purple Spirit Realm cultivator and an early-stage Golden Core Realm cultivator was an unbridgeable chasm. If the other party wanted to kill her, it would be as easy as squashing an ant. Elder Nijin ignored Zhao Yuyan's shouts. Shua. Yin Susu, who was not far away, turned into a streak of light and flew toward Elder Nijin. When Elder Nijin saw this, he snorted coldly. Old woman, you're too slow. As long as he moved his hand slightly, Lin Qingping's meridians would be crippled. However, moments later, the premonition of death suddenly engulfed him. This did not originate from Lin Qingping, nor did it come from Yin Susu, but from the unremarkable Zhao Yuyan below. This was impossible. How could it be this jinx? Elder Nijin's expression changed drastically. Zhao Yuyan's body suddenly released a powerful aura as she soared into the air. An extremely terrifying hurricane appeared around her, and a bright mark suddenly appeared on her forehead. As the mark turned into a streak of light and burst forth, a huge bird suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Firewing, a Tier 5 demonic beast, with strength comparable to a Golden Core Realm cultivator. Screech. The Firewing released a loud screech as it flapped its large wings. What? Regardless of whether it was Elder Nijin, Yin Susu, or Lin Qingping, their eyes were filled with disbelief at this moment. This demonic beast exuded an extremely terrifying aura, which was even stronger than Elder Nijin's. Apart from Zhao Yuyan, everyone else's eyes were filled with shock. However, Elder Nijin was still a bona fide Golden Core Realm expert. He quickly recovered his senses and turned into a streak of light as he fled in the direction of the White Moon Tower. However, how could the Firewing allow him to leave? It had clearly sensed its master's anger just now. That person had to die. Chapter 203. That big shot won't hang me up and beat me up, right? Screech. Terrifying green flames gathered within the Firewing's mouth, which were then spat out as a flurry of flames swept toward Elder Nijin. Not good. When Elder Nijin saw this, he panicked. This attack was as strong as a mid-grade Golden Core Realm's full-power attack. With his cultivation level, he was unable to withstand it. He hurriedly crushed the protective jade token in his storage ring. Accompanied by a bright flash of light, an energy barrier enveloped his body. Boom! The flurry of flames struck the energy barrier. Although the barrier shook and trembled, it still held out in the end. Tower Master, please save me! Elder Nijin cried out in fear. In fact, before Elder Nijin had even shouted for help, the Master of the White Moon Tower had already sensed this terrifying energy. Moments later, a middle-aged man in a blue robe appeared in the sky. He was the Master of the White Moon Tower, Dai Weibo, who was a top-notch expert at the late stage of the Golden Core Realm. Screech. The Firewing released a long screech and looked at Dai Weibo with fear in its eyes. It could clearly sense that this middle-aged man's strength exceeded its own. However, in order to fulfill its master's request, it still rushed forward without any hesitation. Beast. Seeing this, Dai Weibo shouted coldly. His right hand blossomed with a bright golden light, and then he extended his hand toward the Firewing. A large golden hand suddenly grabbed the flaming bird's neck, restraining it. Release my little flame. Tower Master, I beg you, please don't hurt it. Seeing this, Zhao Yuyan became anxious, and she hurriedly begged Dai Weibo for mercy. A strange light flashed through Dai Weibo's eyes. Could this be Zhao Yuyan's mount? How could a mere second-level refinement realm cultivator possess such a terrifying mount? Who exactly was behind this girl? The reason why Dai Weibo did not kill the Firewing was because he immediately thought of the implications of this matter. Given this girl's strength, it was impossible for her to form a contract with such a powerful demonic beast, which could only mean one thing. There was a terrifying existence behind this girl. He did not know exactly what kind of strength the other party had, but it would definitely far surpass his. Otherwise, how could the other party make a Golden Core Realm demonic beast submit to a refinement realm cultivator? Most importantly, even under his control, this demonic beast was still struggling frantically. Such an unruly existence could only be tamed by a Unity Realm expert. Tower Master, you must not let it go. Not far away, Elder Nejan's face belied his panic. If the Tower Lord released it, would he not die? Go back to White Moon Tower first, Dai Weibo said to Elder Nejan indifferently. When Elder Nejan heard this, he looked at the Firewing with an unwilling expression. This demonic beast's strength was extremely terrifying. If it did not die here, there would definitely be endless problems for him in the future. He had not expected Zhao Yuyan to contract such a terrifying demonic beast. Could this be the opportunity that this girl obtained in the mystic realm? Or could it be that there was a terrifying existence behind this girl? No matter what the outcome was, at this moment, he had no time to think. Following that, Elder Nejan decisively chose to run back to the White Moon Tower and hide in his palace. Only after Elder Nejan left did Dai Weibo choose to release the Firewing. Screech. The moment the Firewing regained its freedom, it released a terrifying green flame and chased after Elder Nejan. Little flame, come back quickly. At this moment, Zhao Yuyan's voice spoke up. The Firewing stopped and turned into a streak of light that entered Zhao Yuyan's forehead. Little Flame was the name that Zhao Yuyan had given the Firewing. Zhao Yuyan knew that as long as Dai Weibo was around, Miyamoto Nejan would not die. When Dai Weibo saw the Firewing turn into a streak of light and enter Zhao Yuyan's forehead, he narrowed his eyes. He actually saw this little girl holding a jade token. Although he could not sense the power contained within the jade token, his intuition told him that if the power within the jade token was fully unleashed, even he might not be able to block it. Could it be that if he had not chosen to release the Firewing just now, this girl would have crushed the jade token? Dai Weibo's eyes flickered. Jade tokens were immune to the spiritual sense probing of other cultivators. As long as one did not crush the jade token, no one would know the extent of the power stored within the jade token. Therefore, Dai Weibo only sensed danger through his intuition. However, he did not know that once the jade token was crushed, not only could it kill him instantly, but it could also destroy the entire White Moon Tower. However, Dai Weibo still chose to stop. Regardless of the power contained within the jade token, the simple fact that the other party had a golden core realm demonic beast as a mount was enough to prove that there was a terrifying existence behind this girl. Zhao Yuyan, who is your teacher? Dai Weibo hesitated for a moment before finally asking the question. I'm sorry. Forgive me for not being able to reveal it. Zhao Yuyan shook her head. Other than her parents, she valued her teacher the most. Moreover, were it not for the fact that her mother was in a life-and-death situation, she would not have released the Firewing. Although Zhao Yuyan was young, she knew that if she revealed her teacher's identity, the other party might use her to bring trouble to her teacher. Dai Weibo squinted his eyes and looked deeply at Zhao Yuyan. Then, he turned into a streak of light and disappeared. At the same time, Dai Weibo thought about whether he had offended Zhao Yuyan before. As someone who was able to become the leader of a large sect, Dai Weibo's personality was naturally extremely cautious. Now that he knew that there was a very likely terrifying existence behind Zhao Yuyan, he naturally had to make plans. As everyone knew, those terrifying cultivators had extremely strange personalities. They could be said to be temperamental, and some experts were extremely protective of their own. If they knew that their disciple had been wronged, would they not directly hang him and beat him up? 1. It doesn't seem like I've done anything overboard, right? Dai Weibo rubbed his chin and began to think seriously. The matter of Zhao Yuyan bringing bad luck to others had indeed incited disgust and curses from the countless cultivators of the White Moon Tower. However, he did not participate in it. Of course, he did not put a halt to it either. Chapter 204. Have you heard of Yizan? White Moon Tower, Tower Master's Palace. The existence behind this girl won't take it out on me, right? Thinking of this, Dai Weibo felt uneasy. No, I have to ask that guy in detail. He should have more information regarding this matter. Yunur, was that big bird given to you by your teacher? Lin Qingping landed on the ground and looked at Zhao Yuyan in shock. Tier 5 demonic beast. It was comparable to a mid-stage golden core realm cultivator, yet this powerful creature was her precious daughter's mount. Was this not too ridiculous? Zhao Yuyan had told Lin Qingping everything that happened in the mystic realm, including the gift of the contractual mount. However, Lin Qingping did not pay too much attention to it at that time. She thought that it was at most a demonic beast that had reached the true essence realm at most. Never in her wildest dreams had she imagined that the Firewing would be so terrifying that it could overpower Elder Nijin. If Elder Nijin had not used his protective jade token just now, he would probably have already died to those green flames. Yes, teacher treated Yunur very well. He even gave me a special jade token as a trump card. Zhao Yuyan blinked, and then raised the jade token in her hand. What? Seeing this, Lin Qingping's pupils suddenly constricted. Although she could not sense the power contained in the jade token, going by how powerful the Firewing was, the trump card that Yizan left for Zhao Yuyan was definitely extraordinary. She did not expect that this teacher of hers would treat her so well. She had never seen a teacher treat their disciple so well. Not only did he leave her with all kinds of trump cards, but he also performed spiritual power infusion on her. Of course, because Yizan had concealed Zhao Yuyan's aura, Lin Qingping had not initially noticed that her precious daughter had already reached the 10th level of the Qi transformation realm. However, after observing her for the past few days, Lin Qingping also noticed that something was not right. Her daughter's skills were far better than before, and there were even quite a few moves that only Qi transformation realm cultivators could achieve. Lin Qingping took a deep breath and became even more curious about her daughter's teacher. On a mountain peak not far away, Yin Susu was still in shock. This girl actually contracted such a huge demonic beast. How did she get it? Had it been given to her by an expert? High-level flying demonic beasts were unruly and untamable. Under normal circumstances, only Unity Realm experts could subdue them. There was actually a Unity Realm expert behind this girl. Yin Susu's mind was filled with doubt. However, because she was also afraid of Zhao Yuyan's bad luck, she did not go over to inquire about it. After looking around for a while, she left. South Pavilion, Elder Nijin's palace. Vile creature, you almost killed me. Thinking of Li Baijin, Elder Nijin was furious. He originally thought that he could reap some benefits from the matter while resolving some old grudges. He did not expect Zhao Yuyan to have such a terrifying mount. Even now, Elder Nijin was still afraid. He did not know how Zhao Yuyan obtained such a terrifying demonic beast. At the very least, before this girl entered the mystic realm, she definitely did not have such a trump card. Could it be that this girl met a terrifying existence in the mystic realm, and the other party had given her this demonic beast? Shua. While Elder Nijin was deep in thought, a bright streak of light flashed by, and Dai Weibo's figure appeared. Tower Master, Elder Nijin, do you know the origin of Zhao Yuyan's mount? Dai Weibo did not beat around the bush and got straight to the point. I'm not sure either, but it's very likely that she obtained it in the Moon Demon mystic realm. Elder Nijin did not dare to hide anything from Dai Weibo and repeated everything that Li Baijin had told him. Moon Demon mystic realm. Dai Weibo squinted his eyes when he heard this. He did not expect Elder Nijin to lack the specific details. How could he avoid that expert's anger now? Forget it. After a long while, Dai Weibo sighed deeply. At least from now on, he had to avoid offending Zhao Yuyan, and he had to keep Elder Nijin away from the mother and daughter pair. Of course, Elder Nijin would not dare to go over. The Firewing could easily burn him to ashes. However, the enmity between the two sides had already been formed. Whether Elder Nijin could survive depended on the attitude of the expert behind Zhao Yuyan. Right, have you heard about Yizan? Dai Weibo seemed to have thought of something, and then his gaze fell on Elder Nijin. Ever since the mystic realm closed, Yizan's name had spread everywhere and was now resounding throughout the Nanzhou region. Of course I've heard of him. Elder Nijin nodded. It was said that the talent Yizan displayed was even more monstrous than the master of the Divine Gate, the strongest cultivator in the Nanzhou region currently, an apex existence. This cultivator named Yizan actually crushed the master of the Divine Gate in terms of talent. Furthermore, he was only 20 years old, and had enough power to tear space apart. This information shocked whoever heard it. They had all entered the Moon Demon mystic realm in their younger days, so they naturally knew how terrifying the difficulty level of the Tower of Heaven was. It was also because of this that they naturally knew how significant this matter was. Yizan already had the strength to destroy the entire Radiant Sky Empire. Yizan's talent is truly rare, but I heard that he killed an outer sect elder of the Blood Moon Temple in the mystic realm. What a pity. That's right. Although the Blood Moon Temple is not the strongest force in the Nanzhou region, it will definitely seek revenge for the smallest grievance. Although Yizan's talent is extremely monstrous, he might not be able to escape their grasp. Chapter 205. Becoming Stronger. 2 days from now, a member of the royal family of the Radiant Sky Empire will come to the White Moon Tower to select talented cultivators to enter the Nether God sect. Quickly get your disciples ready. Dai Weibo coughed and then brought up an important matter. May I know which member of the royal family Tower Lord is talking about? Elder Nijin asked. It's the Radiant Sky Sovereign King. Dai Weibo glanced at Elder Nijin before turning into a streak of light and disappearing. Radiant Sky Sovereign King. Elder Nijin's eyes lit up when he heard this. There was hope this time. He was worried that Zhao Yuyan had a Unity Realm expert behind her, which meant that he was doomed. However, when he heard that the Radiant Sky Sovereign King was coming, a glimmer of hope rose in his heart. Back then, his father had once helped the Radiant Sky Sovereign King. Now that his father had died, this favor naturally fell on him. Originally, Elder Nijin was reluctant to use it, but now that it was a life and death situation, he had no choice in the matter. Zhao Yuyan's demonic beast could crush him, let alone the existence behind her. In the entire Radiant Sky Empire, the Radiant Sky Sovereign King was undoubtedly the strongest. As long as he used that favor, the Radiant Sky Sovereign King would not just sit by and watch. He might even be able to destroy the expert behind Zhao Yuyan. Of course, before the Radiant Sky Sovereign King arrived, he had to lay low, just in case the expert behind Zhao Yuyan suddenly appeared. At the southern end of the region, far away from the Radiant Sky Empire, the Black Flame Eagle was flying through the sky. On its back sat Yizan and the other two. Suddenly, a mysterious wave of fluctuations spread out from Yizan's body, like ripples on a calm lake. At the same time, the Black Flame Eagle's speed suddenly slowed down. Teacher, Yu and Li Qingyun were also startled by this mysterious wave. Just now, they had suddenly felt that the world they were in had turned extremely strange, as if it was divided into layers, and that they themselves were isolated by this space. However, when they came back to their senses, they realized that it was just an illusion. Whoosh. At the same time, Yizan slowly opened his eyes and exhaled. Looking at the two surprised disciples in front of him, a smile hung from the corners of Yizan's mouth, but he did not explain. After using 2 Buddha spirit fruits and a Dream Nebula spirit fruit, he had finally comprehended the first level of spatial intent. His strength had improved by leaps and bounds. Previously, if Yizan wanted to tear space apart, it would require a lot of effort. However, he could now do so easily, and even interfere with the natural laws that repaired spatial cracks. In addition, within a certain area, he could teleport infinitely, allowing him to dodge his opponent's attacks, unless of course the opponent had also comprehended spatial intent or had an artifact with spatial power. Not only that, Yizan could use his spatial intent to restrain his opponent's movements. Although it would not last long, in a battle between experts, it was potentially fatal. As expected of a legendary supreme intent. It's truly heaven-defying. After comprehending spatial intent, Yizan's mood became relaxed. He still had 2 more heavenly treasures that would allow him to experience an epiphany, the Wind Spirit Moon and the Withered Leaf Bodhi. However, rather than using these himself, it was better to give them to his disciples to earn rewards from the system. The next few days will be spent practicing the divine forging technique and refining the power of the void herb. Yizan was going to enter secluded cultivation again. He would strive to upgrade his Sword Overlord body before he reached the White Moon Tower. Time flew by, and soon 2 days had passed. During this period, Yizan had been multitasking, practicing the divine forging technique and refining the power of the void herb simultaneously, which increased the power of his spiritual sense, while also strengthening his soul. Now, Yizan was 100% sure that, even if he lost his physical body, his soul would still be able to survive by itself for a long time. As long as there was sufficient spiritual energy, his soul would continue to grow stronger and stronger. I didn't expect the divine forging technique to strengthen my soul so significantly. Yizan's heart was full of surprise and joy. Compared to before, his soul was more than twice as strong. However, after that initial improvement, the speed of his progress slowed down. Incidentally, his strengthened soul and spiritual sense also allowed him to refine the power of the void herb faster. As such, in order to upgrade his Sword Overlord body as soon as possible, Yizan temporarily focused his full attention on refining the power of the void herb. After some time passed, Yu and Li Qingyun were startled awake again, and their eyes turned to Yizan at the same time. Teacher had become stronger again. Chapter 206, Teleportation. Originally, due to his Sword Overlord body, Yizan's sword chi was overbearing. Now, this overbearing feeling had seeped into his aura, becoming evident to those around him. Even the black flame eagle's body began to tremble. It could sense the overbearing power of its master's sword Dao. As time passed, the black flame eagle's speed gradually decreased. In the end, it helplessly stopped in midair, unable to proceed due to how overbearing Yi Zan's aura was. Yu and Li Qingyan's gazes were also filled with shock. The overbearing aura was starting to feel stifling. Every cell in Yi Zan's body was shining brightly as they merged with the overbearing sword qi, causing his cultivation to skyrocket. In addition, the sword overlord body erupted with a terrifying and overbearing sword intent that seemed to want to tear the world apart. Third level of the Unity Realm. Fourth level of the Unity Realm. Fifth level of the Unity Realm. Sixth level of the Unity Realm. Boom. The ground shook and the mountains trembled. Buzz. The black flame eagle was no longer able to withstand this terrifying aura, and it fell from the sky. Teacher. Yu and Li Qingyan's expressions changed when they saw this. Buzz. The black flame eagle's massive body transformed into a black streak of light that hurtled toward the ground. However, moments later, its rapidly descending body was suddenly enveloped by a gentle invisible force, which wrapped itself around everyone's bodies. Yi Zan stood in midair, his entire body emitting dazzling golden light. However, his eyes were still closed, and at the same time, his aura was still rising. However, it was not his cultivation level that was rising now, but the level of his sword intent. Third level sword intent. Fourth level sword intent. Fifth level sword intent. Sixth level sword intent. Not far away, Yu and Li Qingyan knelt on the back of the black flame eagle. If Yi Zan had not protected them in time, they would have already fainted from the overbearing aura he was exuding. Sixth level of the Unity Realm. Sixth level sword intent. Overbearing sword qi filled the air, spatial cracks started to appear around him. Buzz. Yi Zan's tightly shut eyes suddenly opened and, in that second, Yu and Li Qingyan seemed to see an extremely mysterious chaotic light. Moments later, divine sword qi suddenly tore space apart. Yi Zan stood in midair with his hands behind his back. Even though his body remained motionless, the overbearing sword qi ravaged his surroundings. In the forest below, countless demonic beasts trembled madly as they looked at Yi Zan with fear. So terrifying. In the Great Qian dynasty, the old king, who had the most terrifying strength, suddenly ended his secluded cultivation. His gaze turned in Yi Zan's direction, but all he could sense was the destructive and overbearing sword qi in the distance. Suddenly, the domineering sword qi that shot into the sky suddenly dissipated. Such terrifying sword intent was not only detected by the old king, but many other top experts in the Nanzhou region. When did our Nanzhou region have such a terrifying sword cultivator? Could it be that the master of the Myriad Swords Palace was passing by? Could it really be him? 10,000 meters above the ground, Yi Zan retracted the domineering aura that had been gushing out of his body. Now, he seemed no different from an ordinary mortal. Yi Zan slowly stretched out his hand, putting two fingers together as he made a swiping motion. Buzz. Overbearing sword qi wreaked havoc in front of him, creating a deep spatial crack, from which void power burst forth. Huge trees and giant rocks were sucked into the spatial crack, and were reduced to dust. The demonic beasts below were naturally not spared. The larger the spatial crack, the more terrifying the void power it possessed. However, under Yi Zan's protection, the black flame eagle, Yu, and Li Qingyan were unaffected. Then, Yi Zan waved his sleeve, and the huge spatial crack slowly closed up, taking the void power with it. Whoosh! The black flame eagle turned into a black streak of light and disappeared into Yi Zan's forehead. Now that he had broken through to the sixth level of the Unity Realm, his own speed was faster than the black flame eagle's. Then, he walked over to his two disciples and placed his hand on their shoulders. Let's go. Yi Zan immediately started teleporting. This would undoubtedly save a lot of time. When his disciples witnessed Yi Zan's spatial intent at work, they were stunned and amazed. Teacher could teleport. What level had teacher's strength reached? There were two reasons why Yi Zan had chosen to use spatial intent. First, it would save time, and second, it would give his disciples the opportunity to comprehend spatial intent. Chapter 207. The Selection. While Yi Zan and the others were teleporting short distances as they headed toward the Radiant Sky Empire, the White Moon Tower was welcoming a special occasion. The reason was simple. The Radiant Sky Sovereign King was coming to the White Moon Tower to personally select talented young cultivators for the Nether God Sect. The Nether God Sect was a super faction in the Nanzhou region, and the Radiant Sky Empire was one of their subordinate forces. In the eyes of the cultivators of the Radiant Sky Empire, joining the Nether God sect was a prestigious opportunity. Everyone hoped that they would be selected at this time, even if it was only as an outer sect disciple. After all, even as an outer sect disciple, they would receive more cultivation resources than as an inner sect disciple in even the strongest sects of the Radiant Sky Empire. This was their route to success. Even the weakest outer sect disciple of the Nether God sect would be regarded as a peerless genius within the Radiant Sky Empire. The Nether God sect would not only choose disciples from the White Moon Tower, but also the talented cultivators from the other sects within the Radiant Sky Empire, as well as the other forces under them. It was also because of the endless stream of new blood and talent that the Nether God sect's position was unshakable. Of course, these sects would also feel heartache seeing their young talents snatched by the Nether God sect. However, they had no recourse. Strength was everything in this world. At this moment, countless cultivators were gathered in the White Moon Tower's training ground. A golden-armored middle-aged man was seated on a regal throne overlooking the training ground. He had a dignified aura and the demeanor of someone with power and influence. The Tower Master and the other elders were all seated to his right and left, watching the competition between the cultivators below. This man was the Radiant Sky Sovereign King, who was a second-level Unity Realm expert. As expected of the 7th Prince, he has such a terrifying cultivation level at such a young age. His future is limitless. There are similarities between the 7th Prince and the Sovereign King when he was younger. Not only is he talented, but he also has an extraordinary temperament. Even in the Nanzhou region, he can be considered a genius. The eyes of the elders of the White Moon Tower were on a young cultivator in purple armor. Of course, all of this was said just to please the Radiant Sky Sovereign King. Although this kid is talented, that's only from the perspective of our Radiant Sky Empire. How can he compare with the top heavens blessed of the Nanzhou region? He is far inferior to them. Although he said that, the Radiant Sky Sovereign King still smiled. It was obvious that he was quite satisfied with the 7th Prince's performance. At the age of 18, the 7th Prince had reached the Purple Spirit Realm. Now, he had become the personal disciple of the Nether God sect's inner sect elder. His future achievements would definitely surpass his own. The reason why he had chosen to bring the 7th Prince here was to show the cultivators of the White Moon Tower what a heaven's blessed was like. Therefore, although the Radiant Sky Sovereign King knew that those elders were flattering him, he was still happy. The Sovereign King is too modest. The elders all knew that the 7th Prince had failed to enter the Nanzhou region genius rankings because he was still young. The 7th Prince's talent was extremely monstrous, and his presence on the rankings in the future was certain. Within the Nanzhou region, only Jian Tianan of the Myriad Swords Palace and Gongsun Yao of the Gongsun family could be called peerless heavens blessed. Oh right, and that Yi Zan who shook the entire Nanzhou region. When he mentioned Yi Zan, a strange light flashed across the Radiant Sky Sovereign King's eyes. During this period of time, the cultivators of the Nanzhou region had been abuzz with discussion regarding Yi Zan, saying that he was a peerless genius who had surpassed the master of the Divine Gate. Although the Radiant Sky Sovereign King was satisfied with the 7th Prince's talent, the truth was right in front of him. Compared to the top 10 geniuses on the rankings, the 7th Prince was still lacking, especially in comparison to someone like Yi Zan, who had finished the final trial of the Tower of Heaven. What shocked the Radiant Sky Sovereign King was that, at the age of 20, Yi Zan even had the strength to kill him. Yi Zan, Yi Zan, Yi Zan. When the Tower Master and elders heard the Radiant Sky Sovereign King mention Yi Zan, they too were dumbfounded. His achievements were something they had never witnessed in their lifetime. Who knew how far Yi Zan could go? Shower, come here. The Radiant Sky Sovereign King did not dwell on the topic, but called out to the 7th Prince. Hearing this, the 7th Prince took a step forward and flew over to the high platform above the training ground, taking a seat next to the elders of the White Moon Tower. The selection competition had ended. The method was simple and brutal, which was to have the cultivators of the White Moon Tower challenge the 7th Prince. Of course, none of them could defeat them, but the evaluation was done based on how they performed against him. If they could gain the recognition of the Radiant Sky Sovereign King, they would naturally be selected to join the Nether God sect. You'll follow me to the Nether God sect later. The Radiant Sky Sovereign King pointed toward a young man. Ah, me. It's really me. The chosen one trembled, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. When the cultivators around saw this, their faces were full of envy and jealousy. Why could it not have been them instead? Yes, come over. The Radiant Sky Sovereign King nodded with a smile. After the youth received the Sovereign King's confirmation, he revealed an ecstatic expression. He had been a talented personal disciple of the fifth elder of the White Moon Tower. However, things were now different. He had qualified. He could join the Nether God sect. What was the status of a personal disciple of the White Moon Tower in comparison? It was nothing. Chapter 208. The situation has changed. Immediately, the young man ran over to the high platform, stumbling all over the place in his haste. Seeing this, the seventh prince displayed a look of disgust and moved away from the other party. Just now, he had single-handedly dealt with the cultivators of the White Moon Tower, and their strength had indeed disappointed him. They were just a motley crew. Only one lucky soul had been selected. Getting so happy over his qualification was embarrassing. How could such a good-for-nothing be compared to those peerless geniuses on the Nanzhou region genius rankings? How could he be compared to Jian Tianan? How could he compare to Gongsun Yao? Not to mention Yi Zan. That guy was an inhuman monster who far surpassed even the master of the Divine Gate. However, it was a pity that this peerless heaven's blessed was destined to fall. Not only did the Blood Moon Temple want to kill him, but the Nether God sect did too. As a personal disciple of the Nether God sect, the seventh prince learned that Yi Zan had killed a personal disciple of the Nether God sect. Apart from that, the news of Yi Zan killing the Blood Moon Temple's outer sect elder in the mystic realm had also spread among the public. As such, it did not matter if his talent was monstrous. Now that this fellow was being hunted down by two super factions, it would most likely be very difficult for him to survive, much less develop. When he thought of this, the seventh prince felt both emotional and happy. Although he felt that it was a pity that such a monstrous genius was doomed, he did not want to be compared to Yi Zan or live in his shadow. Alright, it's your turn now. After the selection ended, the Radiant Sky Sovereign King turned his attention to Elder Nijin. When he had arrived at the White Moon Tower earlier, Elder Nijin had immediately sought him out. As he owed the latter's father a favor, the Radiant Sky Sovereign King immediately agreed to Elder Nijin's request. Many thanks, Sovereign King. Elder Nijin was ecstatic. This person is in the bamboo courtyard outside the White Moon Tower. Sovereign King, please help me deal with them, Elder Nijin said with a respectful expression. Alright, I've got it. The Radiant Sky Sovereign King looked at Elder Nijin indifferently. Just now, Elder Nijin had already told him everything. He had asked him to take action personally and test the expert behind Zhao Yuyan. If the other party was not as powerful as the Radiant Sky Sovereign King, not only would Zhao Yuyan have to die, but her teacher would as well. However, if the other party's strength was equal to or stronger than the Radiant Sky Sovereign King, then he would take the initiative to negotiate. Presumably, the other party would do the Radiant Sky Sovereign King a favor and let Elder Nijin go. Of course, if it was just an ordinary favor, the Radiant Sky Sovereign King would not have gone to such an extent for Elder Nijin. However, Elder Nijin's father had saved the Radiant Sky Sovereign King's life 3 times back then. How could he not repay such a great favor? Alright, let's go. With a wave of his sleeve, the Sovereign King turned into a streak of light and disappeared. Seeing this, Elder Nijin was overjoyed and quickly followed. Dai Weibo's expression changed drastically when he saw this. He had not expected Elder Nijin to seek the Sovereign King's help. He was worried that this would affect the future of the White Moon Tower. Dai Weibo was an extremely cautious person. If he was not clear about the strength of the person behind Zhao Yuyan, he would definitely not interfere. If the other party was weaker than the Sovereign King, that would be fine. However, if the other party was too powerful, it would only bring a huge disaster to the White Moon Tower. Dai Weibo's expression was filled with uncertainty. He thought for a while before finally choosing to follow. Yin Susu's face turned extremely ugly when she saw this. She had not expected Elder Nijin to have a contingency plan. Furthermore, it involved the Radiant Sky Sovereign King. All she could do was hope that the expert behind the little girl was stronger than the Sovereign King. Otherwise, no one would be able to save Zhao Yuyan and Lin Qingping. Although Yin Susu knew that she could not stop this catastrophe, she still followed them. Seeing this, the other elders looked at each other and followed. When the seventh prince saw this, a ray of light suddenly lit up between his brows, and then a huge flying demonic beast appeared. Moments later, the seventh prince sat on his flying demonic beast and also followed the group. Could it be that they are heading towards the bamboo courtyard? Are they targeting that jinx? That seems to be the case. I wonder what kind of trump card Elder Nijin used to convince the Sovereign King to act on his behalf. What are they doing? Don't tell me they want to kill that jinx. Could it be that a Unity Realm expert can resist her bad luck? Why are you still standing there? Let's go and take a look. Li Baijin, who was in the crowd, could not help but laugh when he saw this scene. BTCH. You dared to injure me. This time you're dead. Soon after, Li Baijin secretly called Lin Yu over and hurried over to the bamboo courtyard. The sovereign king was very fast. Within a few short moments, he had reached the bamboo courtyard. In front of a Unity Realm expert, the formation around the bamboo courtyard was like an eggshell. He only needed to lightly tap it to crush everything. He narrowed his eyes and looked at Lin Qingping, who was refining the pill's medical efficacy in the courtyard. Then, he looked at Zhao Yuyan, who was practicing her swordplay not far away. Although Zhao Yuyan's swordsmanship was a little awkward, she was extremely serious. Even though her forehead was covered in sweat, she did not give up. In order to avoid destroying the bamboo plants in the courtyard, Zhao Yuyan was using a bamboo stick as a longsword. The spiritual power in her body slowly flowed through her meridians and into her limbs. What Zhao Yuyan was practicing was the martial arts techniques that Yizan had taught her. However, the two of them did not realize that there was a Unity Realm expert watching them from up above. Then, the bamboo courtyard's formation was activated, startling them. Only then did the two of them realize that something big had happened. Lin Qingping was instantly jolted awake. Her gaze fell on the figures outside the bamboo courtyard, and her expression changed drastically. What had happened? Why were the experts of the White Moon Tower gathered outside the courtyard? Also, who was that golden-armored middle-aged man in the sky? Why was he emitting such terrifying pressure? Not good. Was that the Radiant Sky Sovereign King? Chapter 209. I hate disobedient children the most. Lin Qingping's expression changed immediately. Her figure flashed, and she quickly came to Zhao Yuyan's side, protecting her. Mother, what happened? Zhao Yuyan asked. Of course, she could also sense that something was wrong. The sudden appearance of such a large number of experts clearly indicated that they had ill intentions. However, did Elder Nijin not just get beaten back by Little Flame? Why was he here again? This was a difficult situation. If the Tower Master was here, Little Flame's strength would be insufficient. Zhao Yuyan blinked her eyes and looked at the experts in the sky. However, Lin Qingping's expression was extremely serious. She secretly used her spiritual sense to send a message to Zhao Yuyan. Yunur, take out the jade token that your teacher gave you. As soon as she finished speaking, Lin Qingping looked into the sky with a heavy heart. She was not sure if the power contained inside the jade token would be sufficient to resist these experts. Zhao Yuyan nodded, and 4 jade tokens appeared in her hands, 2 in each hand. Seeing this, Lin Qingping took the jade tokens from her hands silently. She was worried that her precious daughter would not be able to react in time, so it was safer to keep them in her hands. How could Lin Qingping's actions be hidden from the Radiant Sky Sovereign King? However, he was not in a hurry. After all, he was still not sure of the strength of the expert behind Zhao Yuyan. He also did not know what kind of power was contained in the jade tokens that person had left behind. Yunur, what is this jade token? The spiritual power within Lin Qingping's body swept out and wrapped around one of the jade tokens, placing it into Zhao Yuyan's hands. She knew what the other 3 jade tokens were for. One was a speed-boosting jade token, another was a protective jade token, and the third was an offensive jade token. However, she was unable to identify the 4th one, which seemed to contain some sort of mysterious power. Teacher told Yunur that as long as she crushes this jade token, he will instantly sense my location. Zhao Yuyan said as she rubbed her head and tried to recall the details. What Zhao Yuyan did not know was that this jade token contained all of Yizan's powers, which included sword intent, heavenly lightning intent, and fist intent. As long as it was crushed, Yizan's power would instantly erupt, just like the aura that Yizan had displayed on the highest floor of the Tower of Heaven. At the same time, Yizan would also be able to sense Zhao Yuyan's location. However, this jade token did not contain any offensive abilities. It only served to deter opponents through the display of his aura. As long as Zhao Yuyan crushed it, even a 4th-level Unity Realm expert would become wary and might not dare to make a move on Zhao Yuyan. I see. Hearing this, Lin Qingping nodded and immediately understood. It seemed that she would have to rely on the remaining 3 jade tokens to deal with their opponents today. At this moment, the Radiant Sky Sovereign King's gaze fell on Zhao Yuyan, and his eyes revealed a strange gleam. As a 2nd-level Unity Realm expert, he could naturally tell that Zhao Yuyan's constitution seemed to be extremely special. However, he was unable to pinpoint what it was. It was as if there was a fog around this girl's body that prevented his spiritual sense from probing her. Strange. Could it be that this girl has some sort of special constitution? Among all the people present, he was undoubtedly the strongest, as well as the most knowledgeable. Had he encountered Zhao Yuyan before she met Yi Zan, the sovereign king would have easily noticed Zhao Yuyan's special constitution. However, under the suppression of the pill, the demon devourer body was currently dormant. Of course, he had heard from Elder Nijin that Zhao Yuyan would bring misfortune to others. However, he did not care too much. Regardless of whether Zhao Yuyan was a jinx or not, she was still a weak refinement realm cultivator. How could she possibly affect a unity realm expert like him? Little girl, who is your teacher? The radiant sky sovereign king looked at Zhao Yuyan and asked indifferently. I can't say. Zhao Yuyan shook her head decisively. Why can't you? The sovereign king frowned. I just can't. Zhao Yuyan shook her head. The sovereign king's eyes turned cold. He was the emperor of the radiant sky empire. How could he stand being disrespected by a mere refinement realm cultivator? Even his own children would not dare to be so arrogant. Still, he remained patient and did not lose his temper immediately. I can sense that the aura around your body is very familiar. It's very likely that it comes from an old friend of mine, which is why I wanted to confirm his identity, the sovereign king said with a serious face. You're lying to me. Hearing this, Zhao Yuyan was a little unhappy, and her face puffed up in anger. If the sovereign king really knew Yi Zan, why did he not ask Yi Zan directly if he had taken a disciple? This person is really an idiot. Does he think that I don't know anything because I'm young? Hearing this, the corners of the sovereign king's mouth twitched, and a hint of killing intent flashed across his eyes. As an emperor, he hated it the most when people disobeyed him. The sovereign king squinted his eyes, and a huge force swept toward Zhao Yuyan. Of course, before he could confirm the identity of her teacher, he would not kill her. However, it was better to capture such a disobedient child first. However, he did not expect Zhao Yuyan to be so frightened that she crushed the jade token under the pressure. Not far away, Lin Qingping saw this and quickly crushed the protective jade token. An energy barrier enveloped them. Boom! A destructive aura suddenly erupted. The terrifying aura of a second-level Unity Realm expert, mixed with the formidable power of Sword Intent, Fist Intent, and Heavenly Lightning Intent, flooded the surroundings. Everyone's eyes widened in shock, and their bodies trembled uncontrollably. Their eyes were filled with horror. How is this possible? The radiant sky sovereign king's expression changed. From this terrifying power, he could sense the aura of death. Chapter 210. There are some debts that need to be settled. However, the one who had the biggest reaction was the seventh prince. This power. The seventh prince was in a state of shock. He was extremely familiar with this aura. This is Yi Zan. This is Yi Zan's aura. The seventh prince cried out in shock. During that great battle at the Tower of Heaven, two auras had clashed within the War God Hall. One belonged to that red-armored man, while the other was similar to the aura released by this jade token. The seventh prince could recognize it easily. After all, it had only been a few days since the closure of the mystic realm. This was Yi Zan's power. This girl's teacher is actually Yi Zan. Father, stop. Let's get out of here. Thinking this, the seventh prince cried out in fear. He naturally knew that Yi Zan could not appear in the Radiant Sky Empire, but Lin Qingping still had two jade tokens. Those were very likely given to Zhao Yuyan by Yi Zan. Everyone's expressions changed. Yi Zan, the same Yi Zan from the mystic realm. That terrifying monster who could tear space apart. Not only did this fellow surpass the master of the Divine Gate, but he had defeated that peak 4th level Unity Realm expert that guarded the top floor of the Tower of Heaven. Oh, do you think you can escape? 1. The seventh prince's words were still trailing off, but another voice had just spoken up. At that very instant, everyone's hair stood on end, and their bodies trembled uncontrollably. The expressions of the Radiant Sky Sovereign King, Elder Nijin, Dao Weibo, and the other elders, paled, as if they had been plunged into the depths of the abyss. None of them had noticed where that voice came from. At this moment, ripples suddenly appeared in the sky not far away. Then, a young man slowly walked out of the spatial channel. Behind the young man were two beautiful ladies. Teacher. The moment Zhao Yuyan saw Yi Zan appear, she cried out in excitement, tears clouding her eyes. After waiting for so many days, her teacher had finally come. Her teacher was here to pick her up. Little girl, your master will bring you back now. Yi Zan smiled and patted Zhao Yuyan's head, revealing a warm smile. Ever since he had mastered spatial intent, he could move extremely quickly using teleportation. He had just arrived in the Radiant Sky Empire not too long ago, and had been figuring out where the White Moon Tower was. However, when Zhao Yuyan crushed the jade token, he instantly sensed her location and teleported over. Little girl, you've already done very well. But remember, the next time you encounter such a dangerous situation, you must decisively crush the jade card. Don't wait for others to attack you. Ignoring the crowd, Yi Zan continued to guide Zhao Yuyan with a smile on his face. In fact, even if he had not arrived in time, Zhao Yuyan would have been fine. Any one of those 3 jade tokens would have been enough to keep them safe. However, Yi Zan knew Zhao Yuyan's personality very well. This little girl was too kind, and did not want to hurt others at all. On the Tianyuan continent, the strong preyed on the weak. It was very difficult to survive with such a personality. However, she was his disciple, and he could slowly teach her to change. Zhao Yuyan nodded her head seriously, and then reached out to wipe away the tears from the corners of her eyes. Her heart was filled with excitement and joy. She originally thought that it would take her teacher several months to reach the Radiant Sky Empire, but here he was. Buzz. The Radiant Sky Sovereign King was very decisive. He immediately turned into a streak of light after grabbing the 7th prince and tried to escape. However, moments later, his expression changed drastically. He found that an invisible force had forcibly restrained him. This is impossible. How can you be so powerful? The Radiant Sky Sovereign King was scared out of his wits. Although the other party was indeed much stronger than him, he should not have been able to restrain him so easily. How could a 20-year-old be so terrifying? It was not just him and the 7th prince. Other than Lin Qingping, Zhao Yuyan, Yu and Li Qingyan, no one else was able to move. Only their eyes could move. At this moment, everyone was filled with horror, and their hair stood on end. Just how terrifying was this guy's strength? At this moment, Yi Zan raised his head unhurriedly and looked at the Radiant Sky Sovereign King. Yunur, tell your master, which of these people has bullied you? There are some debts that need to be settled properly. Yi Zan's voice was very calm. Li Baijin and Elder Nijin were in utter despair. Yi Zan. Who would have thought that this girl's teacher would be Yi Zan? One was a jinx while the other was a peerless genius who had shocked the Nanzhou region. Who would have thought that these 2 people actually had a master-disciple relationship? Was this jinx's luck not too heaven-defying? Li Baijin was filled with despair and jealousy. I'm doomed. Similar thoughts ran through Elder Nijin's mind. Chapter 211. Point and click. In front of such a terrifying expert, he was just an ant. At the thought of this, Elder Nijin's heart was filled with despair. Yin Susu was also restrained by this force and looked at Yi Zan in a daze. She had been worried about who Zhao Yuyan's teacher was. If he was not as strong as the Sovereign King, then no one would be able to save Lin Qingping and her daughter. However, not only had the crisis been resolved, but Yi Zan also had everyone's lives in his hands. It was normal for Yi Zan to be able to restrain her, but she had not expected that he would be able to do the same to the Sovereign King. Was Yi Zan really only at the 4th level Unity Realm expert? Countless thoughts flashed through Yin Susu's mind. The person with the most complicated feelings in the crowd was the Tower Master, Dai Weibo. He had always been a cautious person, and after becoming the master of the White Moon Tower, he rarely made enemies. He had been trying to figure out the identity of Zhao Yuyan's teacher this entire time, but the thought of it being Yi Zan had never crossed his mind. In the Nanzhou region, Yi Zan was a famous big shot. How could he have any connection with a jinx? Teacher. Zhao Yuyan looked at Yi Zan and blinked her eyes, as if trying to communicate something, but in the end, she held back. She knew how powerful her teacher was, and she also knew that there had to be cultivators more powerful than her teacher in the Nanzhou region. It was precisely because of this that Zhao Yuyan did not dare to reveal Yi Zan's identity to others. However, it seemed that even the Radiant Sky Sovereign King was no match for her teacher. Her teacher was too amazing. Yunur, from today onward, you must remember one thing. The Tianyuan continent is a world where the strong prey on the weak. Only by becoming stronger will you have the right to decide your own fate. If your personality is too gentle, you'll eventually fall into someone else's trap. Today, I won't force you. Yi Zan looked at Zhao Yuyan. She was still a kid, so it was alright if her personality was a little timid. She would change over time. Madam Zhao, please identify those people. Yi Zan glanced at Lin Qingping. Although Lin Qingping was Zhao Yuyan's mother, she was only a little older than Yi Zan. Upon hearing Yi Zan's words, Lin Qingping's eyes froze. She still had yet to recover from the shock just now. She was as shocked as the others that her daughter's teacher was so powerful. Just what level was her precious daughter's teacher at? She did not dare to speculate. This was already beyond the scope of her knowledge. Ah, okay. Lin Qingping finally came back to her senses. Lin Qingping could still remember those people who had cursed and insulted her precious daughter very clearly. She was even more clear in her heart about who deserved death. Immediately, Lin Qingping took a few steps forward and looked toward the crowd. When she saw the familiar yet unfamiliar faces, her body trembled, not with anxiety, but with excitement. The day she had been waiting for had finally come. Today, she would finally avenge her daughter and husband. When everyone saw Lin Qingping's gaze, their expressions changed drastically, and their hearts were filled with apprehension. Almost all of the cultivators in the White Moon Tower had ostracized Zhao Yuyan before, so it was a matter of whether Lin Qingping recognized them or deemed their sin worthy of death. Their faces turned pale and their foreheads were covered in sweat. Their minds were frantically recalling the past to see if they had gone overboard when messing with Zhao Yuyan. Back then, no matter how arrogant they were and how much they insulted Zhao Yuyan, Lin Qingping could do nothing about it. At most, she could only kick up a fuss. However, things were different now. There was an expert behind her, and her words could determine their life and death. That person, in order to get rid of Yunur, hired thugs to kill my precious daughter. At this moment, Lin Qingping pointed at a cultivator in the crowd. It was a young man. When he saw Lin Qingping pointing at him, he shook with fear. Lin Qingping was right. He had indeed hired some thugs to get rid of Zhao Yuyan. The reason was simple. He had been unlucky for a few days after accidentally coming into contact with Zhao Yuyan. Luckily, Zhao Yuyan's father noticed in time and stopped those thugs. He did not expect Lin Qingping to actually remember this. I'm sorry, I was wrong, please have mer. However, before he could finish his sentence, his eyes suddenly lost focus and his body slumped down powerlessly. His body no longer contained life force. Everyone's hair stood on end when they saw this. What had happened? They only remembered that after Lin Qingping finished speaking, Yi Zan nodded slightly, and then turned to look at the man, after which that man died immediately. Could looks kill? 1. The Radiant Sky Sovereign King was shocked. Although he did not know what kind of power Yi Zan had used, he could clearly sense the man's soul dissipate. He had destroyed the other party's soul just like that. How was this possible? What made him even more dumbfounded was that he had not felt any spiritual power fluctuations from Yi Zan. Terror filled his heart. He was a Unity Realm expert, yet he was unable to figure out how Yi Zan had attacked. What was going on? In fact, there was nothing special about it. Yi Zan had only used his spiritual sense. The divine forging technique could not only temper a cultivator's spiritual sense, but it also contained the means to attack with it. For example, the divine forging technique could transform his spiritual sense into a hammer to attack the opponent's soul. The Sovereign King was a second-level Unity Realm expert, and his soul was quite strong. However, he did not have any cultivation technique to temper his spiritual sense, so he naturally could not detect Yi Zan's attack. That one too. After that, Lin Qingping pointed out more cultivators in the crowd. The cultivators who had been pointed out dropped dead silently one by one. Although their physical bodies were intact, their souls had been destroyed. Everyone was scared out of their wits when they saw this strange scene unfold. Only the Sovereign King had some inkling that Yi Zan probably had some method of attacking the soul. Chapter 212. It's time for you to die. Sir, I was wrong. Please don't kill me. I'm a core formation realm cultivator. I can be your servant and I'll never betray you. Please don't kill me. When Lin Qingping's finger reached Elder Nijin, he used the last of his strength to beg for mercy. His teeth chattered as he spoke, reflecting just how terrified he was. The feeling of awaiting one's death helplessly was truly unbearable. It's him. It was this scum that schemed to kill my husband. Lin Qingping's eyes were filled with hatred as she looked at Elder Nijin. Not only did he cause my husband's death, but he also pushed the blame to Yunur, making everyone think that my precious daughter caused her father's death. Lin Qingping's eyes were red, and tears clouded her eyes. Mother, is second elder the murderer? Is Elder Nijin really the one who killed my father? Zhao Yuyan's tears fell when she heard that. Hearing this, Yi Zan narrowed his eyes. Then he slowly reached out with his hand and made a grabbing motion. As Elder Nijin watched, horrified, an invisible force descended, turned his body into a bloody mist. Elder Nijin was no more. When Lin Qingping saw this, she could no longer hold back the sadness in her heart and started wailing. Husband, I finally avenge you. All those people who harmed our precious daughter have all received their retribution. Apart from the Radiant Sky Sovereign King and the Seventh Prince, everyone else felt the invisible force restraining them disappear. At this moment, Yi Zan raised his eyes slightly and looked at the Radiant Sky Sovereign King and the Seventh Prince expressionlessly. Moments later, Yi Zan's figure suddenly appeared in front of the two. When the Sovereign King saw this, he was shocked. He had not noticed Yi Zan's movement at all just now. It was as if this guy had teleported. Spatial teleportation. How was that possible? Wait, what are you doing? Seeing Yi Zan suddenly appear in front of him, the Seventh Prince was terrified. Yi Zan did not say anything, but slowly raised his hand. You can't attack me. I'm a direct disciple of the Nether God sect. My teacher, Elder Li, is extremely powerful. If you attack me, the Nether God sect will never let you go. Out of fear, the Seventh Prince brought up the Nether God sect. Oh, I didn't expect you to be a personal disciple of the Nether God sect. Very good. You've given me another reason to kill you. 1. Hearing this, a smile appeared on Yi Zan's face. Are you crazy? Aren't you afraid of the Nether God sect's revenge? When the Seventh Prince heard this, he was stunned. He even momentarily forgot his fear. The Nether God sect was a super force with terrifying strength in the Nanzhou region. No one in the Radiant Sky Empire dared to provoke it. Yi Zan was indeed very powerful. In terms of talent, he had surpassed all of the cultivators in the Nanzhou region. However, how could a single cultivator stand up against an entire sect? Could he afford to enrage the Nether God sect further? Furthermore, the Radiant Sky Empire was a subordinate force of the Nether God sect. Killing them here would be akin to slapping the Nether God sect's face. Was this guy really not afraid of death? I've already sent a message with my spiritual sense. My teacher is already on his way to the Radiant Sky Empire. If you let me go immediately, you'll have enough time to escape. Once my teacher arrives, you will be doomed. The Seventh Prince looked at Yi Zan and said fiercely. He had just witnessed Elder Nijin's fate. It was useless to beg for mercy. It was better to threaten him directly. My son's teacher is a 6th-level Unity Realm expert. Yi Zan, don't be impulsive. The Radiant Sky Sovereign King chimed in. Hee, as expected of scum from the same pool. The members of the Nether God sect are all the same, Yi Zan sneered. Not only did they try to hurt his disciple just now, but now they were threatening him using the Nether God sect's name. Did they take him for a pushover? Well, it's time for you to die. Yi Zan's eyes narrowed slightly, and a terrifying force swept out, suddenly enveloping both of them. No, Yi Zan, what are you doing? The Seventh Prince screamed in horror when he realized what was going to happen. The Radiant Sky Sovereign King was also terrified, his eyes full of despair. Was this guy crazy? Did he really think that he could fight the Nether God sect by himself? However, their questions were destined to go unanswered, as the destructive power turned them to ashes. When everyone saw this, their eyes widened in shock. Yi Zan had really killed the Radiant Sky Sovereign King. Chapter 213. Too slow. He had offended the Blood Moon Temple as well as the Nether God sect. Was this guy in a hurry to die? Moreover, the Seventh Prince had said before dying that his master was already on the way to the White Moon Tower. Could Yi Zan escape in time? This guy's strength was indeed terrifying, but the Radiant Sky Empire was a subordinate force of the Nether God sect. The Seventh Prince's master was an inner sect elder, and as such had the authority to mobilize the forces of the Radiant Sky Empire. At this moment, Yi Zan did not know what everyone was thinking, but even if he did, he would not be bothered by it at all. There was no such word as escape in his dictionary. He was more curious about the inner sect elder's strength and whether he could fight to his heart's content and get used to his new power. Yi Zan was a 6th-level Unity Realm expert who had comprehended 2 supreme intents, and also possessed 6th-level sword intent. That alone was enough for him to have the confidence to face any other cultivator of the same realm. Other than that, he also possessed 2 jade tokens containing the power of a pattern condensation realm expert. Alright, you guys can start packing up to return with me to the Qingyan sect, Yi Zan said to Lin Qingping and her daughter. To them, although the memories they had of this place were sad, it was still the place they had called home for many years. Yi Zan did not take them away immediately, and wanted to let them say goodbye properly. That isn't necessary. We can leave immediately, Lin Qingping said through gritted teeth. Now that she had gotten her revenge and her daughter had found an extremely powerful teacher, why should she stay in this sad place? Moreover, the seventh prince's teacher was about to arrive, so it was better to leave as soon as possible. Yi Zan could also sense Lin Qingping's worry and said with a smile, "It's just another god sect. It's nothing worth worrying about." When Lin Qingping heard this, she was stunned. Was her precious daughter's teacher overconfident? Was he really not afraid of the nether god sect? Seeing that Yi Zan did not elaborate further, Lin Qingping sighed. Truly, the thoughts of powerful experts were beyond her comprehension. Since he was confident, then he should be able to deal with the nether god sect, right? Even so, Lin Qingping's heart was still filled with worry. She quickly brought Zhao Yuyan into the bamboo house to pack their belongings. After that, Lin Qingping brought Zhao Yuyan to her father's grave to pay her respects. Since her father had died after being surrounded by demonic beasts, not even his bones were left. As such, Lin Qingping could only erect a memorial monument for him without even his ashes. Yi Zan just watched quietly and did not speak. Yu and Li Qingyan also remained silent. As time slowly passed by, the cultivators who had gathered around the bamboo courtyard all left. It did not matter whether or not the cultivators of the nether god sect came. In the end, this was not a fight that they could interfere in. However, the tower master, Dai Weibo, frowned. Although Yi Zan did not attack the White Moon Tower, he still felt deeply uneasy. Under normal circumstances, he should have felt lucky to survive. But when he learned that Yi Zan didn't choose to leave immediately, but quietly waited for the strong cultivators of the nether spirit cult, the uneasiness in his heart grew stronger. If that inner sect elder ordered him to deal with Yi Zan, what would he do? What would happen to the White Moon Tower? Yi Zan cast an indifferent glance at Dai Weibo. The latter's body suddenly trembled, and a cold chill ran down his spine. Dai Weibo immediately fled in fear. Yi Zan ignored him, and continued waiting quietly in the bamboo courtyard. He was waiting for the inner sect elder to arrive. He wanted to see how strong he was. However, after 4 hours, there was still no sign of this person. Having waited so long, Yi Zan was getting a little impatient. Besides, Lin Qingping and her daughter had already packed their luggage. Since that was the case, then it was best to just leave. Moments later, Yi Zan's eyes narrowed slightly, and a cold gleam flashed across his eyes. He's finally arrived. Yi Zan's lips curled into a smile. Although he did not know how strong this fellow was, he was quite slow. Yi Zan. At this moment, a powerful aura swept out. At the same time, a thunderous voice rang out. The sky was filled with dark clouds, and a strong gale started blowing. He has comprehended wind intent. Interesting. Seeing this, Yi Zan revealed a look of surprise. How was someone who had comprehended wind intent slow? This was something that should have greatly increased a cultivator's speed, though it would also add a destructive force to the cultivator's attacks. It was also said that if a cultivator comprehended wind intent, then they would have a chance of comprehending speed intent, which was known to be stronger. 1. Furthermore, if they could master that, then it might lead to the comprehension of spatial intent. Chapter 214. Punching Bag. However, Yi Zan had skipped this entire process and comprehended spatial intent directly. Sigh, he's quite slow. Yi Zan shook his head. He then teleported into the sky and examined that Unity Realm expert. The newcomer was a black-robed middle-aged man who looked to be around 50 years old. It seemed like this person was also a genius back then, which was why he had successfully comprehended wind intent. You're Yi Zan. The middle-aged man's gaze fell on Yi Zan, and murderous intent flashed across his eyes. At the same time, the violent gusts of wind started to coalesce into a tornado. Yi Zan did not reply, but simply looked at the middle-aged man indifferently. The middle-aged man's name was Li Tiangong, and he was an inner sect elder of the Nether God sect. He was a 6th-level Unity Realm expert. He had been surprised by the 7th Prince's message. The experts that the Nether God sect dispatched to kill Yi Zan were all on their way to the Qingyan sect, yet their target had appeared in the Radiant Sky Empire and killed the Radiant Sky Sovereign King and the 7th Prince, right in their own backyard. You dared to kill my disciple. Li Tiangong took a step forward, and his vast and tyrannical aura swept out. The cultivators of the White Moon Tower all trembled uncontrollably. The spiritual pressure he exuded forced them to kneel on the ground. Even Dai Weibo, who was hiding in his palace, was trembling. What a terrifying power! If these two big shots really fought, the White Moon Tower would be destroyed. At the thought of this, Dai Weibo felt despair. It seemed that the White Moon Tower would not be able to escape this calamity. However, the spiritual pressure suddenly dissipated just as it was about to reach Yi Zan. Hee, what can you do even if I did? Yi Zan chuckled. Impudent, you're arrogant beyond belief. Do you really think that your talent makes you better than everyone else? A mere 4th level Unity Realm cultivator is putting on airs. You're truly courting death. Li Tiangong's figure disappeared into the dark clouds after he spoke. Seeing this, Yi Zan did not panic. He waited for a while, and then threw a punch to his right. Boom! With a cracking sound, a spatial crack suddenly appeared, erupting with terrifying void power. At the same time, their fists collided, and a destructive shockwave wreaked havoc on their surroundings. Oh my god, those two people are terrifying. They actually tore space apart. The cultivators of the White Moon Tower were watching from a distance. When they saw the spatial crack, their eyes were filled with shock. What? After the impact, Li Tiangong took a dozen steps backward. When he felt the force of Yi Zan's punch, his expression changed. Even though it was just an ordinary attack, his own punch contained the power of his 6th level Unity Realm cultivation. By right, Yi Zan should have been instantly turned to dust. Even if something miraculous happened, Yi Zan should still have been severely injured. However, Yi Zan had actually received his attack so easily. You've actually comprehended fist intent. Also, his power had definitely surpassed the boundaries of the 4th level of the Unity Realm. Yi Zan was even more terrifying than the rumors. Even he could not tell what the former's exact cultivation level was. Could it be that this fellow had also broken through to the 6th level of the Unity Realm? Impossible. How did this guy do it? Li Tiangong's eyes were filled with shock. Buzz. Li Tiangong tried to use his wind intent to put some distance between them. However, every time he opened up a distance, Yi Zan would easily catch up. Is this all a 6th level Unity Realm expert is capable of? At this moment, Yi Zan's mocking voice rang out in Li Tiangong's ears. Li Tiangong's expression turned extremely ugly, but he did not know how to respond. Boom! Explosive sounds could be heard everywhere as the two fought. The shockwaves from the impact of their fight wreaked havoc everywhere, creating countless spatial cracks. Everyone's eyes were filled with fear when they saw this. What kind of FC King level of battle was this? Even the sky was full of holes. Even though the spatial cracks were quickly repaired by the natural spatial laws, many of the White Moon Tower's buildings collapsed. Cracks appeared on the ground, and chunks of those buildings were ripped off by the void power and sucked into the spatial cracks. Boom! Just then, a muffled groan was heard. Yi Zan's punch made Li Tiangong spit out blood. The destructive power of the punch destroyed his arm, which was quickly restored. The life force contained within the divine elements of a 6th level Unity Realm was indeed abundant. Still, it would not stop Yi Zan from killing Li Tiangong. Yi Zan wanted to test the limits of the life force contained in Li Tiangong's divine elements. As such, Li Tiangong would have to suffer for a while. Although the two of them were in the same realm, Yi Zan's physical strength far exceeded his opponent's because he had tempered his body using the heavenly lightning bolts at the heavenly lightning pool. Furthermore, he had the sword overlord body. He could crush Li Tiangong with just his physical strength. Chapter 215. Fear. Boom, boom, boom. Li Tiangong's arms and legs were blown apart by Yi Zan's violent physical attacks. At one point, his head was twisted off. However, even so, Li Tiangong was able to recover instantly. Also, in addition to the wind intent, Li Tiangong had also comprehended 3rd level fist intent. Therefore, while fighting, Yi Zan was also secretly comprehending his opponent's fist intent. In comparison to the supreme intents he had comprehended, this was child's play, and his comprehension progressed rapidly. Yi Zan, detestable bastard. Li Tiangong's roars never stopped, and his heart was filled with anger. This guy was not fighting him, he was humiliating him. Moreover, he could clearly sense that Yi Zan was treating him as a training dummy. As time slowly passed, Li Tiangong also noticed that Yi Zan's fist intent was improving. Although he was furious, he was also shocked. This guy was too freakish. He was using this battle to comprehend his opponent's intent. Yi Zan, I will definitely kill you. Under Yi Zan's endless physical attacks, Li Tiangong had been beaten black and blue. Were it not for the life force contained in his divine elements, he would have died many times over. He could not beat Yi Zan, and he could not escape either. This frustrated him to no end. Yi Zan ignored his roars, and continued hitting him with his fists to hone his fist intent. Fighting Li Tiangong was a great opportunity to improve his fist intent, and there was no way he was going to pass up that opportunity. The comprehension of fist intent would lead to the chance to comprehend strength intent, which was a supreme intent. Strength intent represented the purest form of power in this world. There were no fancy tricks, just raw power. Therefore, Yi Zan had to make the most of this opportunity to milk Li Tiangong for all that he was worth. While Li Tiangong was aggrieved by this, he was also secretly thankful that Yi Zan could not kill him. He mistakenly believed that Yi Zan was using his full strength at the moment. Under normal circumstances, Unity Realm experts at the same realm would not be able to kill each other. It was because of this that he felt that he was being humiliated and roared. Furthermore, in the rumors, Yi Zan seemed to be a swordsman, right? Why was he not using his sword? This fellow was clearly messing with him, and was also stealing his fist intent for his own use. How dare he? This guy was really a monster. After the news of Yi Zan's feat in the Tower of Heaven reached the Nether God sect, they immediately sent out people to confirm that the Yi Zan from the Tower of Heaven and the Yi Xuanhou had killed their personal disciple and elder were one and the same. After confirming it, they were shocked, but also wary. If Yi Zan were allowed to grow, he would very quickly become powerful enough to threaten the Nether God sect. He had to be eliminated immediately. Therefore, in order to ensure that there were no accidents, the strongest elder of the Nether God sect was dispatched. However, no one expected Yi Zan to show up here, right in their own backyard. As such, when he received the message from the seventh prince, Li Tiangong immediately rushed over without asking anyone for help. This was supposed to be a great opportunity for him to earn merit. However, he was wrong. No, everyone was wrong. Yi Zan was now so powerful that he was just a training dummy that could be used and abused. He could not even escape, even when he used his wind intent. Yi Zan was somehow even faster than him. Thus, when he recalled Yi Zan's identity as a sword cultivator, anxiousness filled his heart. Would Yi Zan be able to kill him with a sword? Was this guy really only 20 years old? This whole situation was completely illogical. How did this guy become so heaven-defying? Chapter 216. Begging for mercy. Even if one was a top-notch genius, it would take them at least several hundred years to step into the 6th level of the Unity Realm. However, this guy had done it at 20 years of age. What the FCK? As an inner sect elder of the Nether God sect, Li Tiangong was very knowledgeable. Even so, he had never seen such a monstrous existence before. Boom, boom, boom. While Li Tiangong was lost in his thoughts, Yi Zan clenched his fist and punched him again and again. He had no way of resisting Yi Zan's attacks. Not only did this guy have terrifying physical strength, but he also had a special constitution. His limbs were torn apart again and again as he was devoured by the void power of the spatial cracks. Li Tiangong instantly recovered each time thanks to the treatment of the divine elements in his body, but his state of mind did not recover as quickly. He found that, within a very short time, Yi Zan's fist intent had broken through to the 2nd level. Moreover, he was still improving. Every time they exchanged a punch, Yi Zan's fist intent would become stronger. This was too abnormal. Still, this was only to be expected. Since entering the mystic realm till now, Yi Zan had consumed a total of 3 Buddha spirit fruits and 2 Dream Nebula spirit fruits. While he used them to experience epiphanies, the spirit fruits also increased his comprehension value, which made it extremely easy for him to comprehend Li Tiangong's fist intent, especially in comparison to the 2 supreme intents. That being said, Yi Zan was not satisfied. He wanted to comprehend 3rd level fist intent. Furthermore, he wanted to comprehend Li Tiangong's wind intent. As the saying went, the more skills, the better. Comprehending more intents would only benefit him and make him stronger. Boom, boom, boom. Yi Zan continued to pummel Li Tiangong, to the extent that he barely looked human. The cultivators observing the fight from hundreds of miles away felt their scalps tingle when they saw the number of spatial cracks appearing around the 2 combatants. If the 2 of them were to fight on the ground, not only would the White Moon Tower be turned into dust, but perhaps even large swaths of the Lomo province as well. Stop. I admit defeat. As the beating continued, Li Tiangong's miserable shrieks could be heard. At this moment, he no longer had any dignity left. If Yi Zan did not stop, he would be killed sooner or later. However, did Yi Zan care? To Yi Zan, Li Tiangong was a treasure trove from which he would be able to obtain 3rd level fist intent, and maybe even wind intent. Boom. As Yi Zan's fists landed on Li Tiangong's body, they started glowing golden. His fist intent had broken through again. The impact of this attack turned half of Li Tiangong's body to ashes. Naturally, he recovered instantly once again. Li Tiangong could not bear it anymore. He gritted his teeth, and used his wind intent to charge toward Yu and the others. Although he did not know what relationship they had with Yi Zan, he still had to give it a shot and try to hold these people hostage to get Yi Zan to stop. As long as he could stall Yi Zan that way, he would be able to contact headquarters and request help. Hee. Seeing Li Tiangong's actions, Yi Zan smiled. Then, he teleported directly in front of Li Tiangong. What? Such terrifying speed. Wait, had he actually comprehended spatial intent? He noticed the spatial fluctuations when Yi Zan teleported. How was this possible? This guy even managed to comprehend a legendary supreme intent. Boom. Li Tiangong's shock did not affect Yi Zan. He simply kept punching, sending him flying. Buzz. Yi Zan's figure suddenly disappeared and then reappeared directly behind Li Tiangong. Boom. Another punch. I was wrong. I beg of you, please don't kill me. As long as you let me go, the Nether God sect will not pursue the grudge we have with you. 1. In the face of death, Li Tiangong did not hesitate to admit defeat. At this moment, he could not be bothered with the countless cultivators who were watching all of this. He no longer cared about his dignity as an expert. Was dignity important? Yes, it was. However, survival came first. He did not want to die. As long as he could survive, he was willing to pay any price. Boom. Another punch. Yi Zan ignored him completely. He was not a 3-year-old child. Who would fall for such lies? If he really let this guy go, he would probably return with a large number of experts from the Nether God sect. In fact, he might end up facing the sect master himself. The most important thing was that if news got out about his cultivation level, his enemies would become more cautious and send stronger experts after him. Therefore, Yi Zan would never let Li Tiangong go. Chapter 217. Third level fist intent. Wind intent. Yi Zan, I really know I was wrong. Please don't kill me. We're both cultivators from the Nanzhou region. There's no need to go this far. Yi Zan, if you kill me, you won't die a good death. Not only that, but everyone related to you will die too. When Li Tiangong realized that begging for mercy would not work, he started cursing Yi Zan instead. He felt like cursing this guy's 9 generations of ancestors. What kind of FC king pervert was this? This guy had not only comprehended his fist intent, but was comprehending his wind intent as well. First Elder, save me. Sect Leader, please save me. As Yi Zan continued pummeling him, Li Tiangong started babbling. However, at that moment, Li Tiangong crushed a jade token in his storage space. Yi Zan had not expected this guy's storage ring to be in his sea of consciousness. The message he transmitted was very simple. If Yi Zan doesn't die, the Nether God sect will be destroyed in the future. 1. Yi Zan slowly extended his right fist, which was fused with destructive power. Third level fist intent. Yi Zan. Li Tiangong's angry and indignant voice resounded across the sky. His heart was filled with regret. If he had known earlier, he would not have come here alone. At this moment, a mysterious state of inspiration engulfed Yi Zan's mind. Finally, he had finally comprehended wind intent. How is this possible? Someone like you should not exist in this world. Li Tiangong roared in fury and disbelief. Despair filled his face. He knew that he was destined to die here. Yi Zan's next fist strike was imbued with fist intent, heavenly lightning intent, and wind intent. It smashed into Li Tiangong's body, turning him into dust. However, Li Tiangong was not completely dead. His blurry soul slowly emerged from his corpse. Yi Zan. Li Tiangong looked at Yi Zan with extreme hatred. If looks could kill, Yi Zan would have died 1,000 times over. Yi Zan put 2 fingers together, and his 6th level sword intent surged forth, forming a dazzling sword strike that tore space apart as it slashed toward Li Tiangong's soul. Arg. Before his death, Li Tiangong got a taste of Yi Zan's sword intent. Unfortunately, that was the last thing he experienced in his life. His soul dissipated. A 6th level Unity Realm expert had fallen. At the same time, the spatial cracks were repaired by the natural spatial laws, and the turbulent sky became peaceful again. However, there were signs of destruction everywhere. In the area where the White Moon Tower was located, there were many cracks and craters, and the surrounding buildings had been reduced to dust. The shockwaves from the final attack were still wreaking havoc on the area. The White Moon Tower's guardian formation had been completely useless. Were it not for the Tower Master and elders protecting some of the junior disciples, there would have been more serious casualties. Fortunately, this earth-shaking battle had finally ended. It was a one-sided beatdown. The only reason it had dragged out for so long was because Yi Zan was busy trying to comprehend Li Tiangong's first intent and wind intent. Everyone witnessed what happened, and everyone heard Li Tiangong begging for mercy before finally succumbing to despair. Even though the battle was over, it was still hard to believe that an exalted inner sect elder of the Nether God sect had perished just like that. Furthermore, the Radiant Sky Sovereign King had perished as well. Their emperor was dead. What was going to happen to the Radiant Sky Empire in the future? Many thoughts flashed across the minds of the observing cultivators. Today, too many unbelievable things had taken place. Chapter 218. The reinforcements are late. Buzz. Yi Zan's figure suddenly disappeared and reappeared next to you and the others. We should leave now. As soon as he finished speaking, Yi Zan waved his sleeve and released the black flame eagle. With the addition of Lin Qingping and Zhao Yuyan, he would no longer be able to use teleportation as their means of travel. His first-level spatial intent was insufficient to teleport this many people at the same time. As such, the black flame eagle was the only alternative. Lin Qingping was still in a daze. She had been worried that once the seventh prince's master arrived, they would not be able to leave. However, Yi Zan had proved her worries unfounded. Yi Zan's strength had completely exceeded her imagination. Her precious daughter's teacher was actually a terrifying existence that could tear space apart. However, after this incident, Lin Qingping became a little awkward around Yi Zan. Lin Qingping knew very well that if it were not for her daughter, she would not have the qualifications to even meet Yi Zan. It was only after Zhao Yuyan called her a few times that Lin Qingping finally came back to her senses. Everyone quickly climbed onto the black flame eagle's huge back, and the latter turned into a streak of light and disappeared. Even after Yi Zan and the others had left, the bamboo courtyard was still very peaceful. No cultivator dared to probe what was happening inside there, for fear of angering Yi Zan. As for Dai Weibo, he was hiding in his palace, his body trembling with fear. Li Tiangong's terrified screams before he died kept echoing in his mind. Such a terrifying expert had been beaten up like a dog by Yi Zan, and forced to beg for mercy. It seemed that even if he reached the Unity Realm in the future, he would still have to tread carefully, lest he provoke a freak like Yi Zan. Just like that, the whole area fell silent. It was only when night fell that the situation changed. Several figures suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Although they did not release their auras, the very demeanor terrified onlookers. Even the weakest one within this group was as strong as Li Tiangong. They were all inner sect elders from the Nether God sect. As the master of the White Moon Tower here. At this moment, an emotionless voice suddenly rang out. Dai Weibo, who had been hiding in his palace and trembling non-stop, was shocked and ran out quickly. When his gaze fell upon the 5 terrifying figures hovering in the air, he hurriedly took a deep breath and bowed to them respectfully. I am the master of the White Moon Tower. Tell me everything that happened today in detail. If you hide anything, I'll kill you. Behind the 5 powerful figures, 5 full moons instantly appeared behind each of them. Yes, when Dai Weibo heard this, his heart trembled. Then, he quickly described everything that had happened, beginning from the selection assessment with the Radiant Sky Sovereign King, all the way up to Li Tiangong's demise. He had even repeated the words that Li Tiangong had said before he died. As soon as he finished speaking, deathly silence ensued, and the air was filled with an uneasy atmosphere. Tell us everything about Zhao Yuyan. One of them spoke up. Dai Weibo did not dare to hide anything, and told them everything he knew about Zhao Yuyan. From Zhao Yuyan's birth to her status as a jinx, to her entering the mystic realm and acknowledging Yi Zan as her teacher, as well as the grudge between her and Elder Nijin. As soon as he finished speaking, everything went strangely silent again. When Dai Weibo saw this, he could not help but sweat profusely. He was so scared that his heart almost stopped beating. What do you think Yi Zan's cultivation level is? It's hard to say. That guy's actual cultivation level has never been exposed. Given the strength he has now displayed, we can confirm that he is stronger than a 6th level Unity Realm expert. As such, temporarily, we should assume that he has reached the 7th level of the Unity Realm. The 5 experts began to discuss things among themselves. Beside them, Dai Weibo was like a statue, motionless and not daring to move at all. However, when he heard their discussion, he was dumbfounded. 7th level of the Unity Realm. These experts actually said that Yizan's cultivation had reached the 7th level of the Unity realm. How was that even possible? Not too long ago, everyone had believed Yizan to be a 4th level Unity realm expert after his performance in the Tower of Heaven. Barely any time had passed since then, and now these experts were saying that he had reached the 7th level of the Unity realm. How heaven-defying was this guy? Zhao Yuyan was definitely extraordinary as well. Perhaps the bad luck around her was a manifestation of some sort of special constitution. Otherwise, why would Yizan accept her as his disciple? He reached the 7th level of the Unity realm at the age of 20. Li Tiangong was right. This guy is an anomaly. If we don't get rid of him as soon as possible, he will definitely threaten the existence of the Nether God sect society in the future. Yizan is probably returning to the Qingyan sect in the Great Qian dynasty. But Elder Gongsun is on his way there as well, so the two will definitely meet. The eyes of the 5 people were filled with monstrous killing intent, and even their surroundings seemed to tremble and shake. Chapter 219, Choice. The Elder Gongsun they were talking about was the law enforcement elder of the Nether God sect. He was a terrifying existence whose cultivation had reached the 9th level of the Unity realm, and extremely close to being immortal. Sect Master is in secluded cultivation, so you should stay back to inform him, Elder Chen. We'll go and support Elder Gongsun. By the way, Elder Chen, inform the Blood Moon Temple and Yunjin Temple of Yizan's strength. We've already suffered so many losses. We can't afford to make another mistake. Even if this fellow's strength is only at the 7th level of the Unity realm, we cannot underestimate him. This matter is related to the survival of our sect, after all. The group of 5 then split up. 4 of them pursued Yizan, while 1 returned to the Nether God sect. Yizan was no longer someone they could treat lightly and, given his potential, they had to mobilize in full force to get rid of him before he became a serious threat to the sect's existence. Even though they were confident that Elder Gongsun could handle Yizan, they still sent someone back to request the sect master to take action personally, and also informed the other forces that wanted revenge on Yizan regarding their findings. Those 2 forces would then be able to make the appropriate adjustments to their plan. If these 3 forces took action, Yizan's demise would be sealed in stone. After they left, Dai Weibo collapsed to the ground, panting heavily. His eyes were filled with lingering fear. There were 3 forces after Yizan. The Nether God sect, the Blood Moon Temple, and Yunjin Temple, none of which were to be trifled with. On the way back to the Great Qian dynasty, Yizan began his cultivation anew on the back of the Black Flame Eagle. Before that, he had checked out the loot he had obtained from killing Li Tiangong. However, the treasures inside could not be compared to his biggest gains, which were the 3rd level Fist Intent, as well as the Wind Intent. In any case, the loot simply added to his stockpile of heavenly treasures that he had inside the Tower of Heaven. Of the treasures he examined, he found something quite useful. It was an extremely precious and rare spiritual item. The Spirit of Life. This is an unexpected surprise. Yizan smiled. According to the ancient records, in a place where there was dense spiritual energy, thousands of spirit herbs would transform into an extremely precious spiritual item after countless years. The Spirit of Life looked like a young sprouting plant that had just emerged from the ground, but it was actually filled with rich spiritual energy. If he allowed it to for another few thousand years, it was possible that the Spirit of Life would take on a physical form and transform into a divine tree of life. Even though the Spirit of Life had yet to mature, it still contained vast amounts of wood-type spiritual energy, which made it perfect for improving a wood-type special constitution. Yizan had previously obtained the Red Jade Spirit Fruit, which could strengthen fire-type special constitutions. Combined with the Spirit of Life, he would be able to improve his innate dual spirit body. He had already tasted the sweet benefits of upgrading a special constitution after his Sword Overlord body underwent a transformation, so he was very much looking forward to having another special constitution upgraded. What kind of changes would it bring to his strength? In any case, a few days ago, Yizan had given you treasures that could improve their special constitutions, which was how he had obtained the Void Herb. As such, he was unable to reap the system's rewards from her for the time being. Yizan had 3 choices. First, he could wait 30 days to give them to you, and then Li Qingyan, double dipping on the system's rewards. Second, he could give them to Li Qingyan and help her refine them. When Li Qingyan's dual spirit body was strengthened, he would receive the system's reward. Third, he could refine these 2 heavenly treasures right now to improve his innate dual spirit body. While maximizing the rewards was good and all, this was a critical period, and he was being targeted by 3 terrifying forces, and he did not have much time to spare. Still, he should have time to help Li Qingyan refine them, so he chose the second option. Although the red jade spirit fruit and the spirit of life were extremely precious, he did not really care about them. Strength was paramount, so as long as they contributed to the advancement of his cultivation, using them was fine. He would find more heavenly treasures sooner or later anyway. The most important thing now was to deal with the 3 major forces targeting him. While he had the pattern condensation realm offensive jade token, it was ultimately not his own strength, and was a consumable. Chapter 220. Master will give you a hand. Even without the pattern condensation offensive jade token, Yi Zan still had the Tower of Heaven, which was a supreme treasure that contained spatial intent, and had its own separate space within it that was independent of the outside world. Even a pattern condensation realm expert might not be able to break through the defense of the Tower of Heaven, so he could simply hide within it. In other words, even if he was no match for the 3 forces, Yi Zan could still run away. Furthermore, he could take the entire Qingyan sect with him and hide them in the Tower of Heaven. Still, that was a last resort. As a sword cultivator, he had to be domineering and heaven-defying. He should face every challenge head-on. In any case, once his strength improved, he would be able to deal with these ruffians and send them packing. His spiritual sense was now capable of splitting the power of the void herb into many strands and processing each one simultaneously, which had allowed him to refine it rapidly. In this case, he could help you refine the power of the Sword Orchid Valley Lord. This way, he would be able to reap the system's reward once more to become stronger. With his help, you would only need a few hours to completely refine it. It was common knowledge that special constitutions were divided into minor mastery, major mastery, and perfection. Although his sword overlord body would not be able to advance to the perfection stage after helping you to improve her sword jade body, it would at the very least strengthen it, thereby improving his physical strength and cultivation level. He might even be able to advance his sword intent. After that, he would help Li Qingyan refine the red jade spirit fruit and the spirit of life, which would improve her dual spirit body, which would in turn improve his own innate dual spirit body. At that time, his strength would definitely increase by leaps and bounds. Yi Zan did not hesitate any longer. He ordered the Black Flame Eagle to rush back to the Qingyan sect at full speed, and then he appeared beside you. Given your strength, it will take a lot of time to completely refine the power of the Sword Orchid Valley Lord in your body. Master will help you with this, Yi Zan said. Yu was both surprised and stunned by this, but quickly came back to her senses. Many thanks, teacher. Yi Zan nodded, and then his spiritual sense swept out, transforming into strands that helped you split up and process the medicinal power of the Sword Orchid Valley Lord. The rate at which Yu's sword jade body absorbed the medicinal power increased frantically. In addition, Yu's comprehension of sword intent had a great breakthrough, and she was only half a step away from comprehending the embryonic form of sword intent. As her sword jade body reached the major mastery stage, knowledge and comprehension regarding sword intent flooded her mind. Seeing this, Yi Zan could not help but reveal a look of surprise. He had naturally sensed that Yu was about to comprehend the embryonic form of sword intent. Perhaps after completely refining the medicinal power of this heavenly treasure, his disciple should be able to comprehend the true form of sword intent. Although this should be credited to Yu's sword jade body, he had at least given her a helping hand, so he wondered if the system would recognize and reward him for this. His eyes lit up with anticipation. His sword intent was only half a step away from the 7th level, so if he received a system reward for this, even if the multiplier was not high, he would be able to increase his strength yet again. Time passed by slowly as the Black Flame Eagle flew back to the Qingyan sect as fast as it could. However, what Yi Zan and the others did not know was that there were 4 experts from the Nether God sect in hot pursuit of them. Their goal was simple, to catch up with Yi Zan and then kill him together with Elder Gongsun. Although the Black Flame Eagle was very fast, its cultivation was several minor realms lower than these 4 experts. As such, they were gaining on Yi Zan and, soon enough, they would catch up with him. However, Yi Zan was blissfully unaware of this, and was fully focused on helping you refine the medicinal power of the Sword Orchid Valley Lord. As time passed, the aura around Yu's body became more turbulent. Once her sword jade body reached the major mastery stage, she would be able to condense incredibly fierce sword chi, which would greatly enhance her strength. At this moment, Yu's breakthrough slowly came to a halt. Yu slowly opened her eyes and exhaled. What powerful strength! Yu exclaimed in surprise. Although her sword jade body had yet to reach the major mastery stage, her strength had still increased significantly. 10th level of the Purple Spirit Realm. Not bad. 10th level of the Purple Spirit